fucking. It's around here somewhere. I don't know where the fuck it is, but it's around here somewhere.
That's $30. That's not bad.
No. I don't know. But yeah, I saw them and I was like, fuck, I guess I'm fucking ordering The Crow, and I'm guessing ordering Dune. Oh, and by the way, I might as well order the UHD of the fucking Mad Max anthology, because why the fuck
Oh,
no?
yeah.
You sort of one coming out this year?
Two people spoke at once. I missed both of them.
He was saying you sort of have to, and I was saying, oh, are they releasing another version of it this year?
I don't know if it's another version. The Furiosa comes out this year, but this is just the anthology with all 4 movies in it, which I'm fine with because I don't own physical versions for 1, 2, and 3. Don't get me wrong, I'm only interested in watching 2 of those, 1 and 2, for those who are listening. Fuck Thunderdome. I cannot wait till we get to that on Critical Misses, because I do not fall in with the common vernacular in there.
Most people say, isn't it 2 and 3? And 3. Yeah.
I see.
For me, it's 1 and 2 in that order specifically, just to make it more interesting.
So I think as a kid, I watched it as 2 and 3, and it wasn't until years later that I saw the first movie, and it's like completely different from the other 2, which I didn't have an issue with because it filled in a lot of gaps of things that I didn't get from 2 and 3.
But... So that is something that the Mad Max Minute talks about a lot, specifically in the Road Warrior breakdown, is Road Warrior became the movie that was on Cinemax at 10 p.m. every fucking week. It became that movie. So a bunch of Americans got introduced to it because it was always on, and it's fucking sick as shit. So everyone saw that and then saw Thunderdome, whereas 1 was still not hugely widely available at the time. So most people saw 2 and 3 and didn't see 1 until much further down the line.
It's the exact effect of Evil Dead, where everyone's seen 2 and 3 of Evil Dead. Not a whole lot of people have seen the original Evil Dead.
So here's the full plot for me. I've seen Evil Dead 1. I've not seen Evil Dead 2 or 3.
Oh, okay. 2 is kind of a weird rehashing of the first movie. But it's still great.
3 is just leaning into movies. The camp.
Yeah. The stupid skull soldiers in 3. Like, they... I don't know what they were thinking at the time, but it seemed like they just charged full into, this is going to look like crap, and this is just how it's going to be. Yeah. And I enjoyed every moment of it.
All right. Are you guys ready to get this thing started?
Do they have Evil Dead in 4K?
Asking the important questions.
Yes. Let me just check my show notes. I'm pretty sure I didn't do any. So, sure, I guess I'm ready. I've only got 3 games to fucking talk about, and they're the same 3 games I always talk about.
So, you want to talk about covers? The 4K cover for that looks kind of odd.
Makes sense for you.
Whatever. I'm still going to buy it. $19, 4K.
Not bad.
Yeah. I mean, not from Amazon, though.
Honestly, like, that is my favorite thing about, like, I just scattered everywhere in this room at this point because I don't have any current organizational structure. I think they're somewhere in the shelf of bullshit next to me. But like every now and again, I'll just pop in one of the physical things I own and just like, let's just go.
Yep.
Also, Nimp.
Yes, sir.
While I was editing Wayward Sons this week, I came up with a really fucking good idea for the wrap up of the season.
Oh, okay.
And now you don't get to find out until we're done with the season.
That's fine.
You tease.
I thought you were gonna say, "Hey, your recording came in jacked up again." I was gonna be like, "Motherfucker!"
Oh, that's happened before.
I know. That's
every time you record audio, you're just rolling the dice, man.
Yeah, there was what, a 2-3 week period where it's like I just could not get podcast recordings to go through correctly.
Yeah. So apparently I'm an idiot. Because you know I have my Xenomorph shelf right here, full of my Xenomorphs. I did get a gift, which was can't see it from that far away, Paul, with the light. Can't see it from that close.
One? Prowler alien. Okay.
Another one. This is the one from Fireteams Elite. And I turned around and looked, and I didn't realize this because everything just goes on a shelf and I forget about it.
Moon is reaching into the background. That's another alien figure. It's just pulling
From
off
Predator.
the floor.
Is that Alien versus Predator?
Yeah, this is the old school
Okay.
AVP game.
Oh,
Figure. So
cool.
apparently I have 2 figures I need to take out of their boxes and put on my Xenomorph shelf.
Yeah. Add
Like,
to the collection.
That one there, like this bad boy right here, is all rubbery and it's gross and amazing all at the same time.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
he's the expensive one, we'll say.
Mm.
The very expensive one. So like his skin is made of rubber and like he tweaks and stretches and everything.
Oh, boy.
It's gross.
Nice.
All right, you guys ready?
Sure, why not? I must get into my non-swearing zone.
That's right. Chop that part off. All right. Let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast, aka TVGP. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always, drinking something currently, is Moon Beer.
Hi, it's iced tea.
Yum. Also joined by the Nymph.
Hello.
Before we get into the promotional plugs here, 2 quick notes. Number 1, in case you hear some stuff in the background, the local Marine base is doing live artillery training today, of course, while we're recording. So if you hear some fun bassy booms, it's just that. I can't really...
It just means someone's having a great time right now.
Yeah, bunch of people
God,
blowing a bunch of stuff up.
Yeah.
So
I can't wait for you to use that video of like a plane crashing into your house that you see on the people fake on the camera sites.
Yep. Also wanted to do a quick plug here for the Bamfcast. They this past week they wrapped up their amazing 600 episode run. You can check them out, bmfcast.com. If you've never listened to them, it's a great time to start because there's 600 of those things up on their feed.
Yeah, and especially if you're like me and you're like, well, I don't want to jump into like episode 500 of Friends at the Table. Well, I want to go back to the beginning, but content comes out at such a clip that it's just like, oh.
When are you going to catch
Now's
up?
a good time because you don't have to worry about it. You can get caught all the way up like I am with Waypoint.
That's right. So if you've never listened to the show, bmfcast.com, go listen to that. They review quote-unquote bad movies and rate them and kind of find the good in things that people think are bad. It's as a hell of a show. I am impressed that they made 600 of those. I'm happy that I was a super small part of that. I edited a bunch of episodes there for a while, and that was a great show, and that was a great ending to a really fantastic show. So hopefully all those guys do some other cool stuff in the future. But check them out, bmfcast.com, for all that cool stuff. You want to check us out, patreon.com/E1M1.
Ones and numbers.
Talk about this stuff every week. At $5 tier, fun for $5. That's the recommended one. You get the Outcast. Excuse me. Getting choked up about how good and extensive the Outcast was this week, which is like probably going to be over an hour. Over an hour. That's probably added on top of these episodes. Wow. Usually turned out to be about 2 hours. So you want an extra hour of the 3 of us talking about non-video game stuff. That's the Outcast over there. Early access to We Rogue Like It and Critical Misses. You get exclusive access to Critical Misses production meeting, and there's a brand new episode coming out this week of The Wayward Sons, the Supernatural TV show watchcast with Moon and the Nymph. You can check that all out over there, patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones and numbers.
All right, Moon, what have you been playing this past week?
I can't wait for the next couple of episodes of Wayward Sons because they get spicy, let me tell you.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of fun.
Anyway.
Yeah.
We do.
A lot of feelings,
so
a lot of fun.
That people in our households start yelling at us about, are we okay?
Yeah.
So, I only really played 2 games. I just want to give a quick shout out right at the top here. We are playing Returnal for We Rogue Like It.
Yes.
The reason I mention that here is because it's available on a PC. It's associated with a rather large news story this week. Also, I got to do something I've never done before.
Okay.
Play a PlayStation game?
Hey-o, got him.
I hate you so much. No, I got to do a benchmark. I've never played a game that had a built-in
Oh.
benchmark before.
Right.
It
That's
was
fun.
cool.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that it literally slowly builds up and starts throwing more and more and more stuff on your screen to see how you're handling it. Like, it's a really nice little
How's your computer
nice little
like
feature.
this? How
Mhm.
about one of these?
At one point, my GPU was pushed to like 92%, and I just like
Yeah.
scrolled my mouse over to my other window, closed my browser window, and it dropped to like 75%. It was great.
There you go. Thanks,
the one
Chrome.
for World War Z was pretty sweet, where it would do like the sweeping flow through, and then it would just slowly start to add more and more zombies until you got like the whole tidal effect of zombies running
Oh
around,
wow.
and then you could watch as your CPU just starts to struggle,
Right.
and then your graphics card starts to struggle.
Yep.
Man.
It was kind of cool. But yeah, if you haven't played Returnal, maybe play Returnal. Check out Returnal.
Yeah.
Join us on our We Roguelike It experience.
It is one of those PS5 games that I've wanted to check out and just never got around to.
Now's a great time.
Good news! You can play it with us. Bad
Yeah.
news, you can't play it with me because crossplay is not enabled on the game.
Oh, it has
Oh.
multiplayer?
Oh, Sony. It does have
does now.
co-op now, yeah. They
Oh, okay.
They added it in at some point.
Cool.
Yeah.
So,
So good.
I'm
good
just
job,
going to do
Sony.
impressions of Owl while I laugh about Sony.
That's right.
And just to balance the books here, yes, I bleed green, so on and so forth. But somebody did pitch a Helldivers game to Microsoft about the ODST years ago, and they said no, that isn't any good at all. That's a bad idea. Shows what
Okay.
they know.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on to the actual games I played. Lies of P. I am back on my not swearing horse with regards to this game. New Game Plus. Turns out I am much faster at that game when I know what I'm doing, where I'm going, and when I'm
What to
significantly
expect.
better at fighting.
Mm.
It's ironic that Boston pulls up the video he does because that's literally the outfit I'm wearing. Is the white hunter's outfit.
But like, man, that feels great when you start. I'm running into that with Returnal too, where it's like, it's been a while. Maybe I'm rusty at this game, and you you get back on the bike, and you're like, all right, yeah, I'm still pretty good at this. This game's great.
So I think I mentioned it last week or the week before whenever I last talked about this game. But like the first part of the game probably took me a good 3-4 hours to do, like to get to the hotel. It took me 45 minutes to do it this time.
Right.
And now I've gone literally like in 2 sittings. I've gone from where I was up to, which was the police warden, the electric police warden boss.
Yep.
To earlier today, I beat the Black Rabbit Brotherhood for the first time.
Dang. All
So
right, you're just
I
cruising.
Yeah.
Destroyed like a good like third of the game in that little section. Like I did the cathedral again. I did the one-winged angel again. Yes, I'm being serious when I say that. Go
Yeah.
listen to previous episodes.
Lies of P is wild.
Like I did all of that again. I was just like, I'm crushing this. And because I'm an idiot, I had I had 35 points in vitality, 39 points in whatever my damage like skill was.
Yeah.
I had like 12 points in stamina. And I was like, why am I struggling so much to get these hits off and block? And then I realized it's because I've got 12 points in stamina. Now I have 26 points in stamina.
You can
so that
dodge
bar is
once and swing
considerably
once, and
longer.
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm building my stamina up, so it's a nice big increase. It's funny watching the video that Boston puts up while we're talking about games, because like what I'm looking at here is like a health bar in the Dark Souls position in the top corner of the screen, and it's a very small health bar. My health bar is literally halfway across the screen at this point.
Right.
And my stamina is like now a quarter of the way across the screen.
You
like,
are a Dark Souls boss?
essentially, yes. My favorite part is like I'm literally just blowing through it because I know all of it now. I know the secrets. I know what I'm doing. I know where I need to go to get the quartz, which is the vital upgrade that I need more than anything else. I don't care about weapon increase and stuff anymore because I've got 6 weapons which I rotate through depending on the situation. All I want is quartz. Give me quartz so I can increase, like, it's hard to describe what that does, Boston. So the quartz system is basically you're upgrading your heart.
Okay.
And rather than it being just like, oh, this particular weapon does more damage, it's like global increases for like behind the scenes stuff. So like,
like you're upgrading your entire character rather than your stats.
Exactly. So
Gotcha.
It's not a particular stat that you're increasing. You're increasing things that you do in like little sub effects. So like, one of them is you take less damage when you have no potions left. So when you don't have any of those flasks left, essentially, or the equivalent, you take less damage. You lose less stamina. So it makes you survivable that little bit much longer.
Gotcha.
Meanwhile, there's another one that lets you fill up your non-flask standard up by 1 faster.
Yeah,
because
so
that was
like,
one of the cool things. If you use all of your flask, if you continue to kill enemies, it'll slowly start to refill a flask. Yeah, and it'll only recharge it 1 time.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
But yeah,
there's a lot of
lets you
cool
do
like
that
quality of life
faster.
stuff in here for the game.
Yeah, like there's one in there that I just unlocked, which is whenever I do a perfect guard, which I'm okay at. I'm not great at, but I'm okay at. But whenever I do that, it increases the durability on my weapon. So it gives me durability back.
Wild.
That's going to
So
help
it's like,
against the one boss that I almost said out loud. Yeah.
Yes. You can say his name, the nameless
Okay.
puppet. It means nothing. Yeah, it's going to help against that boss in a many different ways. But I'm just getting like, I've got like, I think like 200 to 300 of like the basic like weapon increase resource now, because I'm in the game with like my weapons all maxed out already. They're all at +1. Now the amulets I'm collecting are all +1 amulets too. So they're all doing significantly more. So like I'm using the same amulet setup I used, except when I find one that is the +1 version, I'm just like, whoop, swap out that, get the new amulet. My carry weight goes up even further again. Great. Fantastic.
Interesting.
I think those max out to +3, and you have to be on New Game +3 to get it.
I'm only gonna do 2.
No, I'm just letting you know. If you end up having to go through it again, like every New Game Plus, it increases those by 1.
That's cool.
So you have like the originals and the +1, and then you'll have like the +2 versions of them.
Yeah. But no, like, I don't know. Like, it's cool. Just like literally, I think it took me 39 hours, 40 hours to beat the game from start to finish. And Nim can probably tell you, I'm probably about halfway through, maybe just over halfway through the game.
Yeah,
at this point.
Right there.
And it's like 4 more hours is what that took me to get to that point. Like, it's...
Man.
The difference is palpable, but also it's because I'm level 118 and I'm not building up that, the need to hit a brick wall constantly and then not have enough like experience points. I've already got all of that on the lock, so I just run in, fight a bunch of people. The Black Rabbit Brotherhood, they took me 3 tries to kill them. One Winged Angel took me 1 try. The King's Furnace took me one try. Like, I've been going in and one-shot on some of these bosses that like took me 10, 15 like runs of them previously to try and get through them.
Right.
And I don't know if it's just because I remember much of what it is or because I know the mechanics that much better. Like, it could be any of them.
Right.
But I'm like, okay, so my main concern right now is I'm not even thinking about the next boss or the boss after that or the boss after that. I'm literally thinking of the nameless puppet. That's the thing that I'm thinking of right now.
Because that's going to be the thing that breaks you.
Yeah. Because in order to wrap up my gamer score on this game, I need 1 full playthrough more, which is the one I'm on now, and 90% of the way there playthrough, which is the one I'll be on next time. And that's literally to get that stupid special weapon is the only reason why I'll need that extra one. But no, it's great. It's fun. it's a Dark Souls game, but I feel like it's more approachable than most for me. But I don't know if that's just because now I know the systems. I know at first it was like, oh, here's 15 different systems that you need to get used to. Also, let me tell you, Nimp having the Eagle's Eye or whatever it's called in the clock tower.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the like vertical section of the church, game changer. Because all those people hanging off the edges above you, you can just drop them off the edge. It's fantastic.
The only thing that I hate about the Falcon Eye, because I used it a lot for pulling enemies away from each other. That way you're taking them one-on-one, and it does do decent damage once you max it out. And it's great for staggering. But the thing that sucks about it is that if enemy... Well, no. If the enemy is just too far, or if they're not engaged with you, you can't hit them with it.
In front of them.
Yeah, it goes off, but they don't take damage and they don't recognize you. And it's stupid.
Right.
But there's been a handful of times that's happened. Outside of that, though, it's great. I loved it.
Yeah, that's also the good thing about the quartz system is like the quartz system now means I've got 2 arms. Like I can switch between 2 different arms on the fly without having to go back to a campfire equivalent and do the same. Like the quartz has allowed me to use. I've used the Aegis, which is the shield, and the gun, which that's what the quartz upgrade system has allowed me to do. It's literally, hey, by the way, now you can do all this. It's like cool. It's. I've got 12 potions. I've got 2 arms. I'm not going to unlock the 3rd weapon slot because I don't want to. I don't know if by unlocking the 3rd weapon slot it increases your carry weight.
It does.
Because part of the thing with the weapons is when you equip 2, it increases your carry weight. If a 3rd one does the same thing, I'm just not going to do it. I'm never going to have anything equipped on it because it's just too much carry weight to have on me at any given time.
Yeah, it sucks that you can't. It sucks that when you equip more than one weapon, you get the weight, but you can have more than one weapon in your inventory that you can then move to equipment, and it doesn't add to weight. It's stupid.
Yeah, I'm carrying every single weapon I ever picked up in this game on my person, and it's fine. But the second you equip it, that's when it changes the weight, and it's just like, come on, guys, like, please. I will say, I'm using the weapon I'm using right now is like it's like a giant katana. It's one of the boss weapons. I don't know which one, but it has a very interesting like love it and hate it like right trigger like heavy attack charge attack. Because if you just do the regular heavy attack, he swipes and backs away, and then you can hold it and he jumps back in and does a stagger attack essentially. If you just stand still and hold it, he sweeps it around like a ninja and then puts it next to him. And then when you let go of the button, that's when he does this swinging attack. If you time it right, during that swinging it around in front of him animation, if someone attacks you while you're doing that, it's a perfect block and you immediately counterattack.
That's incredible.
Insanely cool. And it's terrible because I get stuck in this mental loop where I'm almost like, oh, this guy's easy. I'm just going to do my swingy, let him hit me, and then counterattack him. And then I miss it, and he hits me. And then I'm like, cool, let's try it again.
Yeah,
and while I'm in the middle of trying it again, he hits me. And while I'm trying it again, he hits me. So I've just taken 3 hits I didn't have to take because I'm trying to do something stupid.
Because you're trying to look
essentially how I play Dark Souls.
Right.
Did you mess around with that Ouroboros weapon? The big giant ring one? Yeah.
I did. So when I got it, I didn't have the materials to upgrade it. I definitely do at this point, so I haven't done any of that kind of stuff. But the attack animations on it seem weird to me.
They are, and it's the only reason why I bring it up is because it's secondary, is you can throw it, and that thing has some range.
It 100% does the Yuffie thing where it just sticks in them and spins around.
So
I don't know.
Fun,
I like
dumb
this game.
stuff.
The game is dumb. I might end up upgrading it and giving it a shot. I can't remember if that one was one of the ones that I leaned away from because it's a different primary stat to the one I have upgraded. But who knows? I'll have to check.
I started playing around with the scissors that you get, just because its ultimate is you can separate them and then you're just dual wielding, and it's the coolest looking thing ever. Completely changes your fight style.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like that is a great pair of weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Weapon, whatever. I actually have them upgraded all the way. I'm just trying to find a crank for. Sounds like we're speaking in gibberish. I'm trying to find a crank right now for technique, which I think is the stat I upgraded the most, because the katana sword that I'm using came with a base level technique scaler of A. So if I can find a crank for it, then when I do that, it's gonna scale it to an S rank, which is one of the few weapons that has the S rank scaling in that specific stat. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes and how the damage scales with that, because that's my primary stat at this point. I don't know. I really love it. It's great. You all should play Lies of P. It's genuinely a fun game.
And the soundtrack for it's great. I have not unlocked any of the New Game Plus stuff for it yet, but I think I got one record, because there's like 5 of them, I think, that you can only get in New Game Plus now. 5 or 6, something like that. They're like the golden records or something.
Yeah, I've got a couple of the golden records. I was like, why is this golden? I thought I got this last time. No, I didn't. It's just gold now. The only other game I've been playing, I have to talk about it, is Loop Hero.
I've been playing that too this week. I'll let you go first.
Contractually obligated.
For this week and this week only, I am contractually obligated, because you can congratulate me, because I am a god slayer now. That is, I killed that final loop 6 times and got the final bit of text from that boss and did it. And then, just for fun, I went in and got the 10 orange items for at the camp at once. That only took me 17 loops, Boston.
That's not as bad as I thought.
So, Loop Hero confirmed JRPG. Did you kill a god?
Yep. Doing a bunch of grinding.
Then I went in and I got the encyclopedia full.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And then, because I'm a moron, I went and started a new save file like 15 times and got the achievement for beating the boss on the very first loop.
Yes. I was going to ask you how hard that was, but 15 tries approximately.
Yes and no. You need to know some things about the game in order to actually make it easier on yourself. Number one, you need to know the Lich's spawn thing when he spawns the temples that he produces. You also need to remember it's only a 3x3. It's not huge, so you only have to do 3x3. So don't overload. So to kill the final boss to do all those 6 loops, I train myself in a 9x9 square around my campfire. I'm going to load that up with as much as I can, because it stops the Lich's spawns. Also, I have the watchtowers, so I've got archers doing a whole bunch of damage to anything in that area. So that helps with like the chapter 4 runs essentially. But then when you start your first loop, you don't have the archers.
Right.
So you have to go in knowing that you are going to face all of those enemies by yourself.
Yeah.
Pro tip, if you put a spider thing next to your campfire and it doesn't have access to, next to the campfire, it doesn't have access to a road, it won't spawn any spiders.
Oh, that is a good tip.
There's a pro tip for filling up those spaces and not worrying about the stupid spiders.
Right.
Also, if you use the battlefield one, which is the sword in the River of Blood, and then do a second battlefield that overwrites it, it turns it into like the path into a River of Blood, that is counted as occupied space. So you can use 2 battlefields to essentially block off that section, and they spawn a chest, which is helpful.
Right.
Cool.
It took me about 15 tries, and the worst part was I had one run where he had like 3 health left when he killed me, and I was so frustrated that I immediately started another loop. So I did it again. I cut whatever. The biggest secret pro tip that I can give you about trying to get that first kill if you think you're on a good run, if you do a good job and get his health down, like, but he just beats you, and you think, oh, I've got a chance here, maybe with a different evade, like maybe if my evade like had worked a little bit better, and I just got the look of the roll on that front, or if my vampirism was working a little bit better, maybe that would have helped. If you think you're on a good load, right when he kills you, hit the pause and then just reload that save, because it takes you straight back to that fight.
Oh, let the dice rolls happen again.
Let the dice rolls happen again and see if you get it. Because I should have done that when he had 3 health left and he just beat me.
Yeah.
I didn't. I continued to do loops again and again and again and again and again until I realized this, because I did the same thing. I got him to a really low health and I was like, I'm so annoyed. I hit the dashboard, I quit the game, I played something else, probably Lies of P. And then when I loaded the game back up again, it just put me straight into that fight again. And I was like, wait, hold on.
Wait a minute.
Hold on a minute. Let me just have a look here. So I loaded the save from like the start menu, just loaded the save again. It was like, oh, it just takes me back to the start of, whoa.
It's a good tip.
So I can goose these numbers a little bit.
Yeah.
And let the dice rolls maybe I roll a nat 20 in this version, whereas last time I rolled a 1. You know, maybe that's the path I'm on. Turns out, yes, because I had a very good roll. I had a so if you're going to go for that achievement, you want maximum health, you want evasion, and you want regeneration, because you can't you don't have potions. Fun fact.
Right.
So you can't heal that way. You can only heal back at the campfire, so you need regeneration to keep your health up. I got rid of the Vampire Mansion from my deck because I wasn't interested in making the fights harder for myself.
Right.
So I relied mostly on the regeneration to get my health up and keep it up for the time I got back to the campfire to face him. And then, like, the first, like, the winning run I had, essentially, when I first faced him, I took him down to about 25% health, but I got hit a lot. And I was like, my evasion is like 25%. It shouldn't have hit me as much as it did. So I'm just going to reload it. And then I took him down to like 10%. And then I reloaded again, and he wiped me out in like 4 hits, basically. So I was just like, I'm just going to let this go for like 3 more things before I try and reset this whole thing and do it all over again. Like, the second time, it came down to the wire, but eventually I killed him. I was like, now, does me loading the game negate the achievement?
Right.
That's the question.
Right.
It didn't. I got the achievement. So I got it. I walked away. I screenshotted my 100%. I was like, I'm out. Uninstalled.
Nice. Gotta go.
Nice.
Oh, Boston, how are you playing it this time?
It came out this week on iOS and Android. So I checked out.
Oh, great. Perfect SEO for me to talk about this game.
That's right. Yeah, so I checked out the new version because I was really curious to see how this would work in a purely touch interface, because I thought that might actually work pretty well. It does have a controller support. I didn't hook up any of my controllers to it, so I didn't. It works fine on Xbox with controllers, so like I'm expecting it to work the same here. It's really interesting because it works exactly the same. There's a new giant pause button in the bottom right-hand corner of just like, hey, I need to pause this thing real quick. You can zoom the interface, and you can actually there's a zoom option where you can zoom very, very, very close, essentially wherever your finger is, down to like shockingly close to where your character is. One of the things that I thought was the most interesting, 2 things surprised me. One was when you are at the camp and you're placing like you buy buildings from the list and you go to place them, they actually give you a card to put down on the map, as opposed to selecting a tile. Because when you build it in the regular game, it just says like, hey, where do you want to put it on this thing?
Yeah, it gives you like the RTS blueprint thing.
Right. In this one, they give you a card like you're playing a loop, and you place that card down to build that building. which kind of an interesting small change. The change that I really did actually like, I didn't play this a ton, but when you're in the regular gameplay where you're doing the loop and you're kind of building the world, when you drag a card and you're going to go put it on the map, it puts 4 really big arrows around where your finger is, to tell you this is exactly where you're going to put this card, sort of around your pointer finger, your thumb, or whatever. Because in this game, the placement of the tile where you're putting the card is vital. Paramount. So it's really great.
And you just had me talk about placement around your home base for like 5 minutes. So
exactly. So like
it's neat.
You know how important it is. So it's really nice to say like, this is exactly where this thing is going to go. And otherwise, it's exactly Loop Hero. It's $7. It seems like it runs really well. Seems like it has everything in it. There's a free trial if you haven't played Loop Hero before. It seems like a really cool version. So,
go try really quick before I pass the baton over. One more final pro tip other than saves coming. Thanks, Torek, for breaking my wisdom. The mountain. We all know mountains. We love mountains. You put 9 rocks in a row, you get a big mountain.
Yep.
Don't do that on the one run to kill the boss trick.
You don't need to deal with harpies.
What I will say is build 8 rocks in a square with a hole in the middle.
Still getting the benefits.
And then when you hit that final square right before you're about to fight the Lich, after he's spawned and you're literally the square in front of your campfire, always have a pocket rock just so you can drop it in there, get that big, huge bonus of the HP and the defense, and then go straight into the fight with the Lich. Because that was the thing that seemed the game changer for me. When I finally beat him, I dropped that pocket rock in the hole, created mountains, no harpies could spawn, and I went straight into the fight with the Lich, and the health jump is insanely big.
There you go, min-maxing. I love it.
Nice.
So there's my tip. That's all I've been playing. Nimp, go ahead. I almost said go away.
I mean, yeah. You want to talk about the news story now, or do you want me to just wait until we get to that point? Because that's one of the things that
Let's hit the news stories here. So the real Sony pulling a Sony, being Sony this week.
So hardcore.
This is a complex news story that is still moving at the time of recording. So
yes,
please understand that there is a lot of forces in play. People are feeling very hot about Helldivers this week. So the core of it is Sony's being Sony, again, in probably one of the biggest examples of Sony shooting the golden goose in the last 10 years or so. Sony has, based on, the developers are Arrowhead, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. So Arrowhead this week came out and said, hey, just a reminder, pretty soon we're going to be turning on the requirement that was supposed to be there at the launch of Helldivers 2, but was delayed due to technical reasons, that PC players are going to have to need a PSN account and sign into it to continue to play Helldivers 2 on PC. That was understandably met with a lot of frustration, to kind of put a spin on it. And a lot of players saying, like, I can't get PSN in my country, so can I not play the game anymore? A lot of general questions, and a lot of Arrowhead sort of taking to their Discord server and being like, hey, bros, we did not want to do this. I think you can sort of figure out who is telling us to do this.
Oh, he straight up, the CEO of Arrowhead straight up came out on X and said, this is a Sony decision. We did not have anything to do with this.
Right.
Please direct, all of your inquiries to Sony.
Right. And since Steam is now not selling this game in, at the time of recording, 177 countries, which,
Yep.
if you do the math, that's most of the countries on the planet. And are issuing refunds for those in regions where you can't sign up for a PSN account. Because some other games, if you were in a region of the world where you can't sign up for a PSN account, which is a lot of them, a lot of times they'll say, just sign up for one in kind of an as close of a region as you can. And then you should be able to sign in. But for a lot of people, that's not really an option, and Sony doesn't really seem to care. And I think it's everybody's hope that Sony will turn this decision back around, because not having this requirement hasn't really seemed to have hurt Helldivers 2 at this point.
Well, and there's no clear reason given by Sony for why this has to be in there. The only thing that was brought up was that it's so that you can unlock trophies, which if you're on PC, you probably don't care about that.
Yeah.
And it was to make friend matchmaking easier, which it's already built into Helldivers.
Right.
It's all when it's working, which it has been, fine for a bit.
Once they fixed it, it works pretty well.
Yeah, it works fine. So the two main things that Sony put out there for being the reasons why this needs to be a thing, nobody cares about, and nobody wants.
Right. Yeah. And it's not like Game Pass games or Microsoft games on PC where you kind of already have a Microsoft account, so you kind of already have an Xbox account. Like it's such a
You're
different...
already in the infrastructure.
Yeah, like if you're playing a PC game on Windows, you probably have an account already, or you are signed up for Game Pass already, so you have an account. Like, it's just... it's so frustrating because it just... Sony has been the company that has been saying, we are committing to
the motto is for the players.
No, it's not even that. Like, that's BS. We know that. Just like Google's old "Don't be evil." Like, it doesn't matter. But Sony has been restructuring their business over the last couple of years, maybe decade, for focusing on live service games, especially with the purchase of Bungie.
That's why they bought Bungie. Yeah,
right. Like, then to take their most successful quasi live service game and like the template for how to do it without being greedy and without, relying on FOMO, without having to sell battle passes over battle passes. And then to just like take that game out back and shoot it and be like, I don't know who killed this wildly successful game, is just so Sony.
Why did the players do that? It's the whole guy shooting the guy on the couch meme.
Right, exactly. Like it's the meme of the person putting the stick in their own bicycle wheels and saying like, why did the players kill Helldivers 2? It's like, no, bro, the call's coming from inside the house. Sony, again.
I will say my favorite thing I've seen from this was a meme which was done in the... Is it Drake? I hope it's not Drake, but the whole... No, yes meme.
Oh, yeah, the orange coat. Yeah, that is Drake.
Okay, yeah, number one, screw Drake. Allegedly. Just to protect ourselves here.
Right, that's right.
But someone did that with a Helldivers guy instead, doing the no and the yes. And because the game has been getting wildly negative reviews ever since this was announced.
Yeah, it's been getting review bombed.
And Arrowhead have said, do it. Like there's not a lot we can do about it. Do it. This is
wasn't our choice, so like
send a message to Sony.
Right.
This gives us language to use in the meetings with Sony. We can say,
right,
since your announcement, this has happened.
Right.
But someone did that meme template, and it was review bomb was the no, and the yes was orbital dislike, which I think is just chef's kiss.
Speaking of the Arrowhead CEO, I really do have to appreciate, they've always been really great on Twitter about being honest with the community and sort of having fun and being a little bit of a troll here and there. But like Torek says in our chat, really appreciate that he's taken to Twitter being like, I don't know. Like some stuff they don't know, and it's the weekend and it was a decision made pretty late in the week. They have no idea. They're still talking to Sony. They're trying to figure out stuff. They're not out there like putting out PR messages of like, your feedback is important to us at Arrowhead. They're just like, we didn't make this choice. We don't like it either. I don't know.
Well, this is the
We
same
didn't get it. We
studio.
didn't get a notepad app full of text.
Yeah, exactly.
As a screenshot.
Yeah.
But I mean,
This
this is the
isn't
same
who I
studio
am.
and CEO that said like 2-3 weeks after release, when everything was broke, where he was like, "Yeah, don't buy our game until it's fixed. That's perfectly
Exactly.
acceptable. I wouldn't want to spend, even if it is just $40 on a game that isn't currently working. Go
Right.
spend it somewhere else right now."
Yeah.
So I mean,
it's just wild that Sony has managed to out Sony the get a second job to own a PS3 Sony by killing their most successful PC game of all time for seemingly no reason. It's one of this year's wildest news stories, easily.
wouldn't have happened if Jim Ryan was still here.
That's right. What's that guy they used to have on stage?
What was it, Brian Butler?
Yeah, whatever his name was. Like, it wouldn't have happened if he was in
CEO.
charge.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
God, I love that guy.
I am very curious if I wonder, and this is just me being like tin hat conspiracy theorist. Cats, don't fight right now, please. I'm very curious if the reason they're enforcing, because the only thing I can think of, it's literally the only thing I can think of to make this make sense from a corporate perspective, not from the players, but from a corporate perspective. I'm curious if by not having it needing to be linked to a Sony account, if they lose percentages on the sales in the marketplace.
Oh,
like,
sure.
I don't know.
I'm curious if it's a case of, well, this is technically through Sony's service, so therefore you need to pay Sony for some of these transactions. Like maybe they get a bigger cut or a double cut, one for the devs and one for Sony if they're using the Sony infrastructure.
Somebody had talked about it was happening to boost PSN numbers as well, like active PSN
I mean,
numbers.
especially with
That's a
how
good
huge
point.
this has been on PC.
Yeah.
And like from Sony's standpoint, I understand why they would want to do this, because you really want to try to bring people into this ecosystem, just like Game Pass has done. So you want to try and get them to have PSN accounts. You want to try to make the cross-platform play work better for people that were running into issues, especially if they have friends on PSN already. It's just, we'll just invite them in, and you know the whole system works. This is coming on the heels of Horizon Forbidden West just launched on PC, which had their new like overlay, like how Steam has that overlay thing.
Yeah.
Sony introduced their new one. I'm assuming this is probably a precursor to them getting that implemented in this game as well. So like from their standpoint, I understand why they would. It's just that ship has sailed 5 weeks ago. Like that your game took off. Just rake in the cash and the goodwill. Like you have to stop shooting yourself in the foot and asking who hurt you. Like it's you every time, Sony.
Stupid, yeah. And something I looked into, because a lot of people had said outside of not being able to have PSN within certain countries, 177 of them, some other countries that you can have a PSN account, it is difficult to get one.
Right. And
an example of this is in the UK, because of the age verification that they have over there for consumer protection, for you to make a PSN account, you either have to submit to Sony a full facial scan or a copy of your passport, driver's license, or government ID.
Oh, okay.
I don't want Sony to have any of that crap. You want to know
Sony,
why?
Sony can't stop getting hacked.
Yeah, it's not just Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, AT&T.
I don't want anyone to have that info.
Exactly.
Like, especially not my face scan.
It was also brought up in the UK and Ireland. You can use your mobile phone number, but that's only because it has to be under contract, because all of that information is tied to your mobile phone.
Oh, sure.
Which would then send it to Sony as well.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, you just go to the website and you put in your email address and you sign it up. It's like, in the US, but
in the
friendly
US,
reminder, that's not the world.
Swear. Yeah, where they don't care about consumer protections like they do in other places where it's a lot more in depth.
Right.
So,
yeah,
I don't know.
It's a mess.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll hear something next week.
Yeah, like I said, it's kind of
from somebody.
a story on the move at this point, and it seems like Arrowhead is understandably kind of going at it as much as they can. But, we were heading into the weekend, and stuff at large companies like this, not Arrowhead, but Sony, moves pretty slow. So, we might not see anything moving on this for a little bit, but my hope in my heart of hearts is that for once, Sony just takes a step back and says, maybe we make the right decision, we make some goodwill, and we continue to have this wildly successful, best-selling game continue to do what it's been doing, and just say, we made the wrong decision, we're pulling back on this. Go nuts, we're not going to make this choice.
Like you said, I think Arrowhead are fighting back in the only way they can. And I think this is a really good example of a studio not taking the fall for something that's not their decision, but also more importantly saying this is something we agree with, number one. Right. But also what you're doing, yes, it's harmful to us technically, but also it's the only way you've got to fight. Yeah, so fight that way.
Right.
Yep. The other thing that I was going to bring up about this is that this will go into effect May 6th, though for us tomorrow, everyone listening to this, the day that this is released. Mm-hmm. It sounded like, too, that people who currently own it had to be in compliance by May 30th before they were going to be forced into compliance.
Oh, okay.
It was like from May 30th to June 6th, they were going to like force it if you hadn't already done it or something like that. I'm not sure if that was in certain territories or if that was everywhere. Steam does currently have it set up where if you're in one of those affected 177 territories or countries, you can get a full refund right now, no matter how long you've played the game. They've gotten rid of their 2-hour cap for this instance.
Right.
From what I was seeing, that does not include America at all. Because you should, because of it being easy, allegedly, but that may change in the future as well. I don't,
right? That might change
because this just happened. Yeah, but as of right now, that's what's happening with that. So, outside of all this crap, I played Helldivers this week, and that's pretty much it. I enjoyed my time with the game. So there's nothing new has been released so far. There is a new banner that's coming out May 16th, I think it was, the Cold banner.
Okay.
Which has like the snowtrooper looking armor and all this other stuff that looks kind of cool. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, outside of that, it's just real bummer that Sony can't seem to just go with the flow on something that's wildly popular. Yeah, like just sit down, shut up, and let it print money for you. That's all you had to do.
Yep.
So, my next game, Fayror and myself played more of the Remnant Subject 2923 DLC. We have not beaten it yet. We got. So what was it? Last week, we had gotten to the new ward that we needed to check out, and I believe I brought up about how there was a like an ephemeral thing walking around that we couldn't interact with.
I'll be right back. Just keep vamping.
Found out that apparently the reason we couldn't interact with it was because we had to do the split dimension thing where we had to go in the current dimension you're in. Your path was blocked, so then you'd have to switch dimensions to blow something up to open the path so that way you can continue in the regular dimension. When you switch dimensions, those enemies we couldn't interact with, we can interact with, and they became super hostile. And the worst part was also the fact that we could not kill them. And I don't know if this was a DPS issue or if we just were not meant to. Because we could get them down to about a half health and lower. They would drop to a knee, and then because we didn't kill them fast enough, their health would just fully regenerate all the way, and then they would just get back up and start attacking again. Like, cool. Our method for tackling this was Fayror you have to like activate like this weird thing, and that's what shifts you over into the other dimension. you don't have to be next to each other for it to pull you both. So what would happen is Pharaoh would stand by the thing that would switch us. I would stand next to the thing that we had to blow up. She would switch us over. I would start shooting the thing so it blew up. Once it blew up, we automatically went back to our regular dimension. So we didn't even have to interact with anything. And that was what we did for that whole warp point, or that ward point. There was another section where we were trying to activate a nuclear reactor, and there was 3 different levels that we had to do that on, and we had thought, because of it being a big open area, that we would have to do all 3 of them in the same time. So we were watching how they were walking around, we were making note of it, we were talking about, okay, how are we going to tackle this? It's like, I'll hit the one on the bottom, you hit the one in the middle, and we'll both run up to the one on top and try to get it, before we both die. No, it was still the same effect as the other time. So as soon as she flipped it over, I took out one of the nodes and it switched us back. So then that gave me time to go back up to the second floor unimpeded, have her switch us over. I would take that thing out, so on and so forth. So it was not bad. It was fine. We cleared that area. We are now in a winter planet with a woman that has weird powers that can kill roots. And she has an ice giant troll buddy of hers now that picked her up and walked away with her. Oh. So I think we're trying to find her now. And that's where we left off, because it was super late and I was tired. Yeah. So having more fun with Remnant still. A lot of weird stuff with that game.
Yeah.
My last game, speaking of weird stuff, Stellar Blade. I think a lot of critical journalists of this game don't really know what to do or say about this game. Mm-hmm. Surprisingly, no one has any main issues with dressing up your main character.
Right.
What I do see a lot about is the story is shallow, the combat is great.
Okay. Yep. I mean, you could have worse problems.
Yeah, but I don't really understand where they're coming from saying that the story is shallow. I understand, so in the area that the demo covers, and all the way until you get to Zion, which is the first main hub for you to check out, and it has shops and stuff in it. Yeah, you're not getting a whole lot of story. But as soon as you get to Zion, you're being introduced to a ton of new terms and a ton of new people and a bunch of things that are happening that you didn't get beforehand. I got a really long note for this. So once you get into Zion, you start to learn more about Mother Sphere, but you don't get a whole lot. At this point, I am understanding that Mother Sphere is either some space colony thing that everyone escaped to, or it's an AI, or it's both. It's both a space colony and its AI is also in the Mother Sphere, or is called the Mother Sphere. Okay. This is the thing that's been helping, or in the past had been helping humanity. And there's a point, let's see, where are we at? Because my notes are all over the place on this stupid thing. So from my understanding of how this works is, once these monsters showed up and humanity was like, there's nothing we can do about them, we need to leave, the Mother Sphere was already created and everyone was leaving to the Mother Sphere.
Okay.
You find out not everybody left. And it wasn't because they didn't want to leave. They weren't, as the text put it, as you find these notes around the world, they were not chosen to leave. Because they revere Mother Sphere as kind of like a goddess at this point now.
I thought it was going to be I don't have enough money. Sorry, man.
No, it's literally what it's seeming like in reality is just that either there was too many people and the AI couldn't save everybody, so it took what it could and bolted. Mm-hmm. Or it may be something along those lines of it was finally picking people where it's like, okay, you have an engineering background, you will be useful, you're on. You have a doctorate background, you're useful, you're on board kind of thing.
Gotcha.
But you're not really sure what caused, what's happening with that. You then find out people start referring to Eve as Angel, right off the bat. There's no reason given for why everyone starts calling her Angel. Mm-hmm. And then you start to hear about Heaven's Royalists.
Mm-hmm. All
Like,
right,
okay,
now we're getting into
who
some
are-
JRPG stuff
yeah,
here.
and it's like, okay, who is this? And you pick these up through notes. These aren't like cutscenes that I had. These are like books and notes and things that I've picked up in the game and have read. And how it turns out is everyone that was taken up to Mother Sphere is considered a heavenly royalist, and everyone that's still on the planet absolutely hates them because they view it like how you were just thinking, where it's like, oh, okay, you were rich, so you got to go, and we didn't because we were poor, kind of thing. So that's how some of the survivors are viewing it. Angels, like Eve, are part of the people who were sent down to take out more of the monsters on the Earth. And for some reason, they just refer to them all collectively as angels, keeping in with the whole heavenly. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Everyone. Go ahead.
This is giving me severe Nia Automaton vibes.
Yeah.
Yes.
100%.
And Ava vibes, funnily enough.
And that's why these are being, because in my own mind, I'm having problems keeping the Nier story out of this story.
Right, you're like, well, I already know how this goes. No, that was a different game, right?
And it is similar and it is different. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say they're 1-to-1, but like Moon just connected. There's enough of a similarity going on here that, you can connect some dots. But anyway, so outside of all this thing happening, there's also like this prophet that you find in the first town, Zion. Its name is Oracle. Okay.
I get it.
Yeah, they have connected to the network, so they can view in certain areas where these monsters are coming, so that way they can warn people about it. And they have been helping to maintain the energy and the cradle and all of this stuff. All right. So there is a conspiracy group called the Free Citizens who believe that the reason why the prophet is able to warn us about these monsters is because they are actually controlling the monsters.
I see.
And there have been reports by this same group that the Natiba, the monsters, someone has seen them being brought into the cradle at nighttime. The cradle is where all the citizens are currently at in cryostasis. And it's also where memories of people who have died are being stored.
Okay.
To add another thing to this, one of the personal bodyguards to the prophet, people believe that they are a human form of a Natiba, the monster things.
Conspiracies run deep.
Yeah. So there's like all of that. Like, I'm not even touching on half of the crap that I've found since I've been in this town. And already, like, I've gotten this much story where I'm already like, oh, okay, cool. Where is this going? What's happening with this? Who is this person? Yeah. There's new characters that have been brought up, and that I'm like this general dude who I saw long enough for them to threaten me to not do anything weird in the town, Like, who's that guy? He looks like he's straight out of Cyberpunk with like all the augments and stuff on his face. So I don't really understand where everyone's like, oh yeah, the story's shallow.
Well, there's always that push and pull, especially when people have a timeline to review something. They're not going to be... They either can't or they don't want to take the time to kind of start digging through all the, like, 50 collectibles in this first town you run into.
And that's kind of what I'm finding, is that everyone is willing to compare this to a Souls game, but they're not willing to compare the story. Because this is the exact way you get story in a Souls game.
Right, you read all
reading
the
item
item descriptions.
Yeah. This is the exact same way.
If it wasn't for the fact that YouTubers exist who make 17-hour-long videos about the story of the Souls games, nobody would know that they had story.
Right.
But I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh yeah, this is like the best story I've ever heard. And no, it's fine.
Right.
But
it's got something there, though.
Yeah, I don't understand the sudden uptick in everyone being like, oh yeah, the story's really shallow. No, it's not. It's there. And there's as much... You can consume as much of it as you would like, or as little of it as you would like.
Right.
So, but yeah, so getting past all that fun crap, I am really enjoying the game and what bits of the story I'm able to pull out of this game. It has been really fun. The combat is still really good. I have The only issue I have with the combat is I feel like the buttons, when you input them, I feel like they stick like a half second too long.
Oh, okay.
So for an example, for you to do your beta skills, you have to hold down L1, which is the block button, and then that changes the face buttons to be selectable for the skills that you have.
Okay.
So I have found that if I'm tapping for a block and I go to start attacking again with square, there seems to be like a half a second maybe where it's like it's still registering that I'm holding or that I've pressed L1 and not released it. So
Oh,
then it
sure.
does my beta skill instead of just a normal attack.
Mhm.
So that's a little weird, but whatever, that's still fine. I am fine. I have been messing with perfect blocking and the two different types, or actually the three different types of dodging that you have. Perfect blocking is it's the same across all Souls games. You hit
Sure.
it just as it's about to hit you. You get the nice shiny little cling and you're good to go. Perfect dodging is the same way where you dodge the last possible second. You basically get like you don't get like a slowdown, but you do get her where there's like the weird after image of her dodging.
Oh,
And
okay.
if you hit square or triangle at the right time, you do a direct counter, and it gets you right back into the fight.
Interesting.
There's a blink dodge, which is when an enemy does like this blue shine. You will see your sword will shimmer blue for a moment, and that's when you do like a forward and a dodge, and that will blink your character behind them, and then it'll do a counter attack. Or I forget what the other one's called now, but basically you go backwards and dodge for like this this pink one. For the same instance where it's like your sword does the little blink and then you just back up and it does this backwards blink, I guess, and then you go in for a counterattack kind of thing. So those two, it took a while to get used to. Blink was a lot easier to getting used to. The other one that I can't remember the name off the top of my head, I actually looked up online. I'm like, am I not doing something correct? Because I could pull it off like maybe 1 out of 10 times in the practice room, messing with it. And what I'm finding, it's possible that it has like a really short range. Like you have to be fairly close to the enemy for it to register and for you to be able to do it. And I think what may be happening is that it's such a short distance that when I'm getting ready to back up and do the dodge, I'm backing up just outside of the range just before I'm hitting the dodge, and then it cancels out being able to do that ability.
Right.
So a lot of people have said that once you unlock this other skill that is supposed to make it easier, it also kind of increases that area, and then you'll have an easier time of being able to pull that off. So, all right, I guess I'll wait until I can, because right now I can't even unlock that skill. It's currently locked. So, all right, I guess I'll wait until that happens. I have unlocked it so that the drone that follows me is now a gun, which is pretty sweet. It attaches to your arm. It can shoot slugs, it can shoot missiles, homing missiles, and it can shoot a charged energy beam now.
Jeez.
And it sounds like there's more things that it'll eventually be able to do. It unlocked a whole other skill tree. And primarily I use the drone for like scanning, because it'll show you, hey, is there an enemy on the other side of the wall? Is there an item or something?
Sure.
And I have upgraded it now because my biggest complaint with the scanning was that once you scan, it doesn't keep everything on screen that long. And if you're in a huge area, or if you're in like a vertical area, by the time you get done checking around you and you start to look up or down, everything is already gone. So then you have to wait for it to recharge, ping everything again, and then take a look around again. I have now unlocked the skill so that way it lasts longer and it takes less time for it to recharge. So now I can basically almost sit there and just keep constantly spamming the ping, so that way I can see if I'm missing anything. Which has turned into this. There's another collectible for cans, and there's a very specific upgrade for the drone where you can see all these cans in the game. And the cans, going back to story and lore, all the cans have NFTs printed on them.
Okay.
And it doesn't mean anything for you in the game, but they were super confused. Like the characters remark about why were they doing this? What was the marketing reason for this? And everyone's like, no one's really sure why they started investing in NFTs. But now I have I have like this whole shelf collection thing where every time I get a cannon, it puts it in the correct spot, and as you collect cans, you start to unlock things. Like I can now hold more shotgun ammo. I can hold more mines. I can,
nice.
this, that, and the other. The end goal, I guess you could call it, is once you've collected all, I think it's like 50 cans, you unlock a super racy negligee for your character. All right, whatever.
Sure.
Maybe I'll check it out when I get to it. Maybe I won't, but who knows? Other than that, though, like, this is a really good game.
That's what I keep seeing out of a lot of people, is just like, hey, it's like everybody's feelings aside, it's just a really good game. They're having a lot of fun.
Like, if like I said last time, if you are not into TNA, or if it offends you, I guess would be the polite way of putting it, this is not going to be a game for you. If you can get over that, or if it doesn't bother you, maybe check it out on sale. Like I said, the demo's still out there, so you can still check out the demo and see, if the combat's for you or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, it looks great. It plays great. The only other complaint I have is the chess. And this is what I'll leave off on. The chests are all set up so you either find passwords for them in game and then you can input them, or you have to play like a quick QTE thing where it's like there's 4 across, 4 down, and it's filled in the grid, and there's arrows on each one. So you have to input all of those arrow prompts through the D-pad.
Okay.
And when you're a stratagem master like myself, when you can get to level 20 on the stratagem machine on your ship,
no problem.
That's no problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
What becomes a problem is when it randomizes it. So you'll have the same exact grid, and it will pick a random one to go to, and you have to hit that one, and then it'll pick another random one to go to, and you can only make 3 mistakes.
Yikes.
The only reason this is a problem is because it does not highlight, basically the arrows. First off, the arrows aren't true arrows. They're basically like 2 lines that kind of make a triangle, but they make them like futuristic looking. So it takes a moment for your brain to recognize, oh, that's pointing up. I need to hit up.
Right.
The only other thing that sucks is the lighting for this specifically is not great. So when it's highlighting that arrow, it doesn't look that much brighter than all the other arrows on the screen.
Gotcha.
So what I've had to do to get past this, because I tried this one like 5 or 6 times, and it was like, is there like a skill that I get or something that's going to make this easier? Yeah, because I couldn't do it. I was able to get it down to 2. Like I had 2 left before I ran out of time, and I couldn't get below that. What I ended up doing was I went into the settings and turned the gamma all the way to 0.
Oh.
And that made it so that way I could stare in that middle, in the middle of the grid, and I can finally see which arrow is actually lighting up.
The one time we're turning the gamma down.
Yes. So I did that. I had 2 of those chests because I had one when I discovered this, and I got it like first try. I was like, cool, bump the gamma back up. The next chest I found was the exact same one. I'm like, oh my God, come on, guys. So turned the gamma down again, did it on the chest, got it first try, no problem. I'm like, okay, cool. This is my trick for getting through this.
Right.
So if you pick up this game and you have that same issue that I do, go into your settings, turn your gamma all the way to 0. That way you can see the arrows highlight better. It really, really helps.
That's incredible.
So it's a weird thing. But yeah, outside of that, it's like I just genuinely enjoy playing this game. Yeah. And I don't have a whole lot of bad to say about it.
Yeah, just having a good time.
Yeah, it's one of the few games where it's like I pop it in, I start playing it, and then like I just go. And I'm not worrying about glitches or my save corrupting or anything, So, which is very rare for a $70 game nowadays. But that's all I've been playing this week. Yes, Feror. I believe there is. Sorry, Feror asked if there's any trophies tied to difficulty. I believe there is a hard difficulty trophy, but they did add New Game Plus, and you can New Game Plus into hard difficulty.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
So yeah,
That's
that helps. Yeah. But I believe that's the only one. I haven't really checked the trophies or anything, so I've kind of been keeping spoiler free on that.
Right.
But yep, that's all I've been playing.
All right. I actually haven't been playing a lot this week. I feel like coming off of Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, sort of back to back. I'm feeling pretty burnt out on games I need to invest a lot in.
You need a short, small, very
Yeah,
lighthearted game.
and Balatro is doing some of that for me, but like I'm kind of waiting for Balatro's big patch to come out on consoles a little bit because it kind of rebalances the whole game in kind of interesting ways. Played a little bit of Destiny 2 this week. We did the Whisper of the Worm mission. They just call it the Whisper, and it's they are revamping 2 of the old exotic missions this time as part of the Into the Light thing. Whisper is out right now, and coming soon will be 0 Hour. That was the other kind of like race against the clock Outbreak Perfected mission. They made some really cool changes to the Whisper mission this time. So the layout is exactly the same. So if you had played it before, the whole layout, shortcuts, secret passages, everything, all that stuff is exactly the same. But this time they have 2 difficulties for it. How it was before was you had 20 minutes to do it, and that was kind of it. They still have that 20-minute timer for the Legend version, and that's where you kind of unlock... this weapon is craftable now. That's where you unlock additional crafting options, and the ship returns too. That looks like a kind of ghostly black Taken ship. You unlock it from there as well. But the normal version gives you the gun, which and the crafting pattern, but you have 45 minutes to go through and do it. So if you are like 75% of this is a platforming thing, and the last 25% is combat. So if you are like most Destiny players, including myself, and you are jumping puzzle challenged, then that 45-minute one is really good, especially just to kind of get you the gun and send you on your way. So I appreciate that they added that. They also added a thing that I think is really cool, and they've been doing this a little bit more often, where I see these kind of like Vex data cubes floating off in the distance at some point. They've had these in other ones, but essentially whoever makes it through the jumping puzzle first can shoot these things to make additional platforms show up for people that are behind, that make the jumping puzzles usually significantly easier.
Okay.
And I appreciate that a lot, because sometimes the stuff in here is just like, I don't know how to like pace my jump properly, or there's this kind of infamous blind jump where you're jumping around a corner. That jump just kind of sucks. And I want more people of different skill levels to play this game and get this cool gun that looks like it's a heavy sniper rifle. It hits like a truck. Like it's sort of a famous gun for a reason. So I appreciate that they have a bunch of optional things to make this even easier. So we went through and we did the mission, we got the gun, and then they give you a bunch of missions after that to enable you to get all of the additional crafting options by doing stuff in the Legend version. Thankfully, you don't have to do it all in one run, so we kind of do a couple of them, run up against the time limit, come back in, make it a little bit further on the next one, and kind of keep progressing.
Gotcha.
Now the last thing we need to do is essentially just beat the Legend difficulty version all in one go, which we missed by, I think, like 10 seconds the last time we did it. Like, we spawned the final boss, we're doing a ton of damage, and we just needed like a couple more seconds to get that done. So hopefully this upcoming week we'll do it, and then we'd be ready for 0 Hour, which is different in like a whole other kind of bonkers way. Moving on here to my next game, which is Slice and Dice. Continues to be my kind of winding down at the end of the day game here. I beat my first Generate easy run, so easy difficulty of generate. And we talked about generate last week, which is essentially just like everything is random. Character names, abilities, dice faces, spells, just you're throwing it all out and kind of hoping for the best. I didn't really have a super great run, but I think I kind of lucked into getting good enough items and good enough upgrades that I kind of barely eked out a win. So that mode is pretty fun, but it's probably not the mode I'm gonna play the majority of the time. I think
because it's chaos and unpredictable.
Yeah, and like I like that there's an option there for the chaos if you really want to do that. But I will probably not be playing that as much. I unlocked a new difficulty called Heaven, and it shows up just under the normal runs area, and it actually shows up to the left of easy. So I think it's meant to be an easier difficulty than easy. You essentially got to start a run and pick a whole bunch of blessings at the right off the bat and kind of have an easy run going on there. So I played around a little bit with the choose party mode, and I was just doing so in the choose party mode you can pick exactly what heroes you want, or like classes, whatever you call them, in each of your 5 slots. Or there's just kind of a randomize button there. I was just hitting the randomize button until weird stuff popped up, because a lot of that, I found a character class called Pockets. It's just a jacket with a bunch of pockets on it. It's just like, that's a hero. It's like, all right, yeah, word, cool. I ran into 2 really wacky runs. One of them was, one of my party's members was just a flower, and all it had was heal spells that grow. And it's essentially, grow spells just get stronger every time you use them. So like the heal spell will start at healing 1 HP, but next turn will do 2, next turn will do 3, and stuff like that. So that was fun. I also, one of my party members was just a spade, and all of the 6 sides of it dice were just bring a party member back to life, which I thought was really wild. I was like, okay, cool, sure, why not? Probably the wackiest one I had this week, though, is ran into a new side of a dice that when it has there's a cantrip on it. So essentially that side of the dice will proc its effect when it lands up while you're rolling. You don't have to have it sort of chosen. And it was on that side. It was 2 of the 6 sides. Just spawns a skeleton on the enemy side. They have 4 health. When you defeat them, they do 1 damage to things above and beyond, or like above and below. So randomly, a dice would land and a skeleton would spawn, just a regular bone. That wouldn't be as bad, except for one of my other party members had a similar dice, but when it would land, it would copy another party member's dice. So some turns I was spawning 2 to 4 bones per turn on the enemy side. I spawned so many of them in one battle, I actually went off of the screen and just said reinforcements +2. So I just had I had 15 skeletons on screen. So part of the reason why I like this game so much is running into weird stuff like that, of just like, this is a nightmare. I'm not going to win this run. I'm going to lose within the next probably 2 or 3 rolls. But I had a whole lot of fun losing in one of the most ridiculous ways. And that's what I love about great roguelikes like this, is like, in roguelikes, you're not supposed to win every run. And, you know, a lot of roguelikes take the mentality of like, losing is fun. Like, losing is part of the enjoyment, part of the fun of this genre. And I understand why people might not like that, but like, you come out with such great stories. We're sharing such wacky screenshots in the Discord server of just like, look at this ridiculousness. Look at how I lost in this. This is one of the funniest things ever. It's like, that's why I really like this genre, and that's why I really like this game, is just running into either wild stuff that kills my run or wild stuff that makes me just motor through this run with really no trouble at all. So Slice and Dice continues to be great. I really love it. Played a little bit more Balatro this week. I hit 2 big milestones. One was I finally unlocked one of my final jokers. I needed to play 4 7 of clubs in one hand, and I finally did that this week. Pro tip for anyone looking. Yeah.
Can you use the merge deck where clubs are spades and spades are clubs to do that?
You probably could. The way I did it was I kept copying 7s until I had a ton of them in my deck, and then I just started applying wild cards to them, and then I just played 4 wild card 7s at once, and that managed to make that work. The Joker you unlock for that, also pretty good. So, and probably one of the easier, higher end ones to make work for your deck, which is really nice. Only have 2 jokers left to unlock and purchase, and that will have the entire collection complete. One is for having 5 glass cards in your deck at once. I will just focus on that at some point. I haven't gotten to doing that yet. And the other one is having 30 diamond cards in your deck at once. Again, I will just focus on... I'll have a run where it's like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe I can just copy diamond aces forever, and whoops, here we go. Or just, I'm buying standard packs like crazy, and I'm only going to buy diamonds or something like that. Something that might make it a little bit easier is I finally beat Orange Stake, which was ridiculously hard. It's the second to last stake. Thankfully, will be a little bit easier in the upcoming patch, which is on PC now, not on consoles yet. So I unlocked the final deck, which is the Erratic deck, I believe it's called. And that is all suits and ranks are randomized. So you just get 52 cards, and whatever you get is randomized. I'm in the middle of a run right now where I have 0 aces, 13 kings, no queens, and like 3 jacks, and like I think it's like spades where I have like a 2 and a 3, and that's it. I have like 13 hearts, and some really wild, pretty interesting stuff. And I'm having a lot of trouble with that deck because for most of the other decks, it's like, oh, I'm playing the abandoned deck, so I have no face cards. So I kind of know in the back of my mind, I'm kind of looking for these jokers that synergize really well with this deck. I have no idea what I'm looking for run to run on this, and it's interesting to really test your synergies in this to figure out what is the perfect one for this deck, or how can I manipulate the strengths and weaknesses of this deck and kind of min-max it enough to get it to the point where I can succeed. And that, even on the base difficulty, the white stake, I'm having a lot of trouble, which is fun, because I think I was expecting this deck to kind of be the like, oh yeah, whatever, man, it's super easy. You got 13 aces, who cares? You can do whatever you want. It's like, yeah, maybe, but you know, that is also a downside at the same time. So it's cool. I love Balatro. It's so good. Also, big recommendation. Danny O'Dwyer over at NoClip has started another podcast. He has the same brainworms I do, where he's doing kind of the NoClip interview style, but audio only. And his first interview was Local Thunk, the solo developer behind Balatro. It's only 45 minutes. I'm about half an hour through. It's really good. He's such a great interviewer, and Local Thunk is like, nobody knows who it is. It's very much like I don't remember what that other the Vampire Survivors dev. Like nobody knows who it is, and they're kind of like, yeah, that's That's fine by me. I did that by design. So it's interesting to hear them kind of talk about who they are and what their inspirations are and how many games they've made before they made Balatro, and their kind of hesitancy, as much as they liked Balatro and they thought it could be popular and successful, how much they had a hesitancy to release it. So check out that show. It's called Dear Dwyery, which is maybe one of the best terrible titles for a podcast. I love Danny Dwyer, but like that's kind of a wild one. So go check that out, and then go play Balatro because it's really great. Last game here. This is going to be an easier game to talk about than it is to show, but I started playing Rusty's Retirement this week. It's a PC game.
I played this some. Yeah.
It's a PC game. It is an idle farming game where you don't even have control. You're just kind of planting crops on this small tract of land, and your little robot Rusty is just kind of running the farm by itself. The only trick of it is it only takes up the bottom, not even third, maybe quarter of your screen.
Yeah.
So it's meant to. It also has a vertical mode too, so it can kind of take up the side too. So it really is meant to be this thing that you kind of occasionally interact with while you're doing other stuff, and the robot just kind of runs the farm for itself. I quote unquote played this a lot this week, but I've kind of had it running on the other, my second monitor at the bottom while I was doing work and research and working on a bunch of like Destiny Emblem Collector stuff, and it's pretty perfect for like, oh, you harvested all the crops and you turn them into this thing. I'm gonna, plant a bunch more stuff, maybe build a new thing to assist Rusty there to kind of help water and gather and turn this into other materials and build buildings and stuff. And it's probably the lightest lifting game I've played in a really long time, and that's like the highest praise I can give this game at this point. Is just has cool music and sound effects. If you wanted like an automated Stardew Valley, it's kind of like that, where it's just like, yeah, Rusty's gonna do its robot thing and take care of the farm, and you plant stuff every once in a while and you watch the numbers go up. And it was, do you remember how much this cost? It was less than $10.
I was actually going to ask you, I last played it when this was only a demo.
Okay.
So I was going to ask, did it actually release or not? Because they were talking about it was going to be pretty cheap. So I'm guessing, $75.
Yeah, let me see if I can see how much.
Because I know in the demo too, when I played it, because I played it just before they added the vertical mode. So I was able to. I played it normally, and then I was able to test it on vertical once that finally came out, and it worked really well. But I thought it was funny too that you don't get like the full stretch. There's like parts of it that'll say you have to buy this section with like in-game currency, so that way you can unlock more farmland or more area for you to build buildings and stuff on.
Yep.
I was like, all right, that's pretty cool. But
yeah, it's $6. It looks like it's on a discount here for the launch. And the developer's been patching it. Looks like some people ran into some kind of minor problems here and there, and the developer's been patching it pretty quickly. And it's just one of those games that whenever I sit down on my PC, it's like, all right, I'm going to sit here, I'm going to work for a little bit, I'm going to do some editing, I'm going to do some programming or whatever. Rusty's going to run the farm on the other screen here for a little bit, and I'll pay. There have been times where it's like, oh, I'm sitting here for an hour and not paying attention to it, and I come back to it, farm's still running. Yeah. I got a lot of cash.
You've got like
to spend.
A window open above it, and you're working on something, and it's
and like there are some cool options where you can have it always be on the front. I have it muted a lot because I'm usually doing podcast editing, and that's totally fine too. And it's just a cool little thing for a couple of bucks that you can kind of like half pay attention to, and it's built for that. And I don't think we have enough games like that. We talk about games like that kind of often, where we're like playing slice and dice on our phone while we're kind of half watching a TV show, or we're doing something else, and we're playing Loop Hero and doing chores at the same time. And this game is really meant to do that. So it's Rusty's Retirement. I heard, actually, this is one time I heard it from like a recommended post on Twitter, and was just like, oh yeah, okay, that's actually a great recommendation. Thank you so much. That was really great. And it seems like it's been doing really well on Steam. Has sold a ton of copies. So
yeah, I found it as a recommendation from TikTok.
Oh, there you go.
That's
yeah,
how
see?
I first heard about it.
Algorithm works every once in a while. Yeah. So go check out Rusty's Retirement. It also seems really lightweight. So if you don't have, like, it's not an Unreal Engine 5.3 super HDR sampled thing. It's not one of those things. So I think even if you have a pretty old machine, it's going to run pretty well. So go check out Rusty's Retirement. That's all I've been playing this week. Let's take a break.
Yep.
I'll let Rusty work there for a minute. Get the true Rusty's Retirement. I wish I could have the game open while I'm recording this. You just say, like, I'm playing Rusty's Retirement at the bottom of the stream for the whole game. But I don't think that. I couldn't figure out how to make that work.
He's a nice long bar. Just put him right across the middle of your screen, middle of the stream right here.
I know. I was trying to make it work, and I ran out of time. Maybe next week.
Yes, I know you could adjust it, like top or bottom, I think was a setting he was planning on adding.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was funny with the whole vertical thing, because that was a thing where a lot of people in the Steam forums was like, hey, would it be possible to do this?
I have a vertical monitor. Like, can it just stretch the whole way?
And the guy was like, no, I don't know. I never thought of that. And then like a week later, I think like a week later, he released an update and was like, okay, it's working. Let me know if it stops working.
Yeah, that's a cool little game. I really like that. I spent the extra like $3 to buy the DLC that turns Rusty gold, because it's like a super supporter pack, and I was like, all of that together is $10. I'm just gonna spend $10. Like, I'll toss a couple bucks in the tip jar. Like, don't even. That'd be great. So good times. All right, we can close out the news story because we already talked about that. I'm gonna save these questions here for next week, because we've already been recording for a really long time. So
yeah, that's fine.
All right, are you guys ready for releases?
No. Yes.
Okay.
Maybe.
I'm so confused.
Didn't V Rising already come out for PC?
It's coming out of early access.
Gotcha. God, I hate early access. I think this is its second early access or something.
Hey man, I don't know. I don't keep track.
I don't either.
Of early access stuff.
I don't either, but I swear to God, there's been like 2 different times that I thought that game has already come out, and everyone's like, "No, it's early access."
Yeah.
All right, yeah, I'm ready.
All right, let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk releases for the week of May 6th, 2024. V Rising comes out of early access on PC. This is coming to PS5 later this year as their kind of release window, and other platforms are unknown. But with how successful this was on PC during early access, I'm hoping it's going to come to at least Xbox platforms. People seem to really, really, really love this game when it came out in early access. It's kind of like a isometric hack and slash vampire thing that, like,
base building, Diablo styled, whatever. Yeah. Just throw all the acronyms in there. Why not?
That's right. It's a roguelike deck builder. It's also a Souls game. It's got it's an MMO. People seem to really dig this, and I as we were talking about here on the break, sort of haven't been paying attention to it because it was in early access, and like Nim said, felt like it kind of came in and out of early access at least twice during the period. So I'm not entirely sure where this game is at the point, but this is the game that's also getting Konami DLC, and this is the one that's
I was gonna say there's supposed to be like an a la carte, and so much prep for this game.
It's so good. So that's coming out this week on PC. Game I've been looking forward to for like 2 or 3 years is finally coming out. Animal Well comes out PS5, Switch, and PC. It's kind of like an an old school exploration focused 2D side-scrolling puzzle sort of thing. It seems like it's secrets focused. If I was to say that anything is, it's kind of giving me very similar like Fez vibes of kind of like is everything in the world what it seems? Maybe yes, maybe no. It also is apparently combat free, which right now sounds like a really great time. And it has this cool kind of CRT, almost like ZX Spectrum at a high resolution kind of vibe. Like it's got some real wild stuff in here. So I've been looking forward to this for a while, and I'm really excited to check it out because it seems like a really unique, cool kind of thing. So that's Animal Well coming out here this week. Next game here, Crow Country comes out PS5, Series consoles, and PC. You've probably seen this as the very PS1 styled isometric third-person shooter, kind of Resident Evil inspired shooting game.
Dude, this just reminds me of like if you were to be able to do a third-person game as a theme park attendant, like a theme park visitor.
Yeah, it's
specifically the game theme park, not just generic theme parks, but theme park the game.
Right. So this looks pretty neat. I'm curious to see how reviews are going to come out for this, because I really like the style of this. It almost looks like Legend of Legaia era PS1.
I was gonna say it's like the end of PS1 era graphics, where it's still pixelated, or polygon, like all the polygons, but it's far enough where it's smooth and nice looking.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Final Fantasy VII anymore, where like everybody's got Popeye arms, but everybody's got
it's not that far off.
Yeah, it's got like that real kind of chunky polygon aesthetic to it. So that's Crow Country. That looks pretty cool. Excited to see how that turns out. Opposite end of the spectrum here, Little Kitty Big City comes out this week. Xbox One, Series console, Switch, and PC. This is Game Pass day and date.
Looking forward to this one so much.
Yeah, me too.
Next 1,000 point reign. What if this turns out to have like the hardest achievement ever in it?
Probably. The true Dark Souls starts here.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be the first time, dude.
No, that's true. So a lot of it just seems to be a kind of like you're a little cat in a big city up to hijinks and kind of trying to solve puzzles and stuff. Looks absolutely adorable. I don't think I've gotten an idea. I've been following the game for a while. I don't know if I've gotten a real good idea of kind of exactly everything you're going to do in the game, but even if it's just the kind of idea of, like Untitled Goose Game was.
It looks like a goose game for a cat. Which I'm perfectly happy with.
I'm chaos incarnate in a city. Let's go. So that looks pretty, and incredible animations on this game. There's some real great comedic animations here. So that's Little Kitty Big City coming out this week.
It does have hats for those curious as well.
That's right. Yeah. Dress up cute cat and cute hats. What else could you need? Last game here, Pac-Man Mega Tunnel Battle Chomp Champs comes out. PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series console, Switch, and PC. I had totally forgotten about Stadia exclusive Pac-Man Mega Tunnel Battle, which is a 64-player battle royale where you essentially have multiple connected Pac-Man levels, and you and 63 other people are kind of going in and out of multiple Pac-Man levels to eat ghosts, chomp a bunch of the what are the bits? I don't know, what are they little circles called?
Bits.
Yeah.
Pellets.
And then pellets. Thank you. And then like eventually getting big enough to kind of chomp the other players. And it seems like when that happens, their individual kind of stage disappears from the level. So
that's cool.
Looks kind of neat. I with it being a Stadia exclusive, I heard literally zero about it.
Well, yeah, because I'm sure they couldn't fill a lobby.
Yeah, like, and I know people liked Pac-Man 99, so I'm it'd be great if this would kind of recapture that, but so that's I'm gonna say the title again because it's got about 50 words in it. Pac-Man Mega Tunnel Battle Chomp Champs. Also, Chomp Champs is kind of fun to say. Let's talk about. We already talked about the Game Pass game that's coming out this week. That's Little Kitty Big City. The PlayStation Plus games for May is going to be EA Sports FC 24 Standard Edition, Ghost Runner 2, Tunic. Go play Tunic. Go listen to the Game Club episode for that. And then Destiny 2 Lightfall, which is the most recent Destiny 2 expansion. If you want to unlock Strand and get all those powers for free, you can go grab that. So that's the May games. They usually have another drop halfway through the month, which is kind of some of the older games like the PS1 classics, and I'll try and talk about those once that happens. We do have a bunch of questions here from the community. Thank you very much for everyone for sending them. We're going to save them for next week because we've been recording for 2.5 hours for just this episode. So we're going to wrap this guy up and kind of put a bow on it. So thank you for sending questions. Please keep sending them in. Either email tvgpfans@gmail.com or send us questions in the podcast questions channel on the Discord server. You can find links to all that on the right-hand side of the page over at tvgp.tv, including links to every other social media platform and also the fixed RSS feed link because I made a mistake on that. It now shows all of the 1,500 plus podcast episodes that are currently in this feed. So you want to start catching up all those, start at TVGP episode 1. Don't worry about the audio quality. It gets better pretty quickly. So just remember how old that episode is and what tech looked like that was available for me at that point. Let's do another plug for patreon.com/E1M1.
One's our numbers.
$5 tier is the recommended one. That's $5 a month, not $5 per week or per episode. Get all of that over there. We talked about all the cool stuff you get at the top of the show. If you can't support us financially, totally understand. Please share the show on Twitter. Go tell your friends. Like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Twitch, on YouTube, all that stuff. You usually get alerted when we do the live stream here. And come hang out with us on the live stream. There's a ton of people chatting in there recently. Watch the videos. Even if we don't live stream, anything that goes in the public feed has a video version alongside of it as well. So you can come see us chatting about stuff, see gameplay rolling at the same time. And I think that's it. So we'll see you all next week. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, my new shoes just got delivered. Yes.
Dude, don't. Because I need, like, summer has kind of arrived, so I need to start wearing my sneakers rather than my boots.
Mm-hmm.
But I think my boots have seen their final season.
Yeah, that was me for my sneakers, looking at them, and I was like, ooh, that's... How old
my
are
sneakers
these?
are on their
2
final
years?
season.
I need
So,
new
like,
sneakers.
This year alone, I need new boots, new sneakers, new winter jacket, new summer jacket.
Oh, no.
And it's just like, ugh. I don't want to.
I don't got the cash.
Summer's here, so it's just shorts and flip-flops for me unless I have to actually
go.
go somewhere.
Maybe for you.
Yeah.
Oh, all the
All right.
time.
All right, Nimp, what are your titles?
All right, I have just 3.
Okay.
And they are We All Know Mountains.
I have the
Always have-
second part of that. We love mountains.
Okay. Always Have a Pocket Rock.
Yep.
And Orbital Dislike.
All right, Moon, what do you have?
Play a PlayStation game, how I play Dark Souls, while I laugh about Sony, other than save scumming, Pocket Rock, Jumping Puzzle Challenged, and they couldn't fill a lobby.
That's such a brutal burn. I love it. I have a
Is
lot
it
of
wrong? Am I wrong?
No,
Show me-
you're
in the
nail on
infamous
head.
words of CM Punk, tell me when I'm telling lies.
That's right. I have a lot of feelings, a lot of fun. You are a Dark Souls boss. We love mountains. Always have a pocket rock. The one time we're turning the gamma down, and orbital dislike.
I'm torn between Pocket Rock and Orbital Dislike, if I'm completely honest. I like Pocket Rock because it is so nonsensical. It is 100% a show title.
The tough part too is Pocket Rock and Orbital Dislike are both fun to say.
Yes.
Also, I just love the title of like always have a Pocket Rock. One of those titles of just like what would they be talking about? Like what could possibly lead to that?
I think I will have to go with Pocket Rock just because of how completely out of pocket it is.
Heyo. I'm circling it.
I'm ready.
I drew a rock around it.
All right, I'm ready.
All right. Starting in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 863 from May 6th, 2024. Always have a Pocket Rock.
Like sand, but painful.
It's completely different from a pet rock.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening and watching. We greatly appreciate it. Also, thank you, everyone, for hanging out and chatting so much on the live stream. We greatly appreciate it. And we hope we'll see you next week. Bye.
Oi.